Money moves fast. Threats move faster. Let me ask you a question. If you stopped working tomorrow, how much would it cost to live your life? Not survive. Your actual life. Your home. Your groceries. Travel. Helping your family. Healthcare. Most people know their income, but very few people know the cost of their life. And until you know that number, you can't really know when you can retire. Most retirement advice online focuses on a big number. 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. But those numbers are guesses because they don't start with the most important question. What does your life actually cost? Without that number, retirement planning becomes guesswork. So let's look at a simple example. Imagine a couple, Mike and Lisa. They're both 62 years old. They've saved $1 million for retirement, and their home will be paid off in the next year. When they sit down and carefully look at their spending and the life they want to live in their first decade of retirement, they discover something important. Their life costs about $8,000 a month or $95,000 per year after taxes, and about $120,000 before taxes. This is important. Now there's one more expense many people forget. Healthcare before Medicare. Between 62 and 65, private insurance out-of-pocket costs can easily be around $20,000 per year for a couple. So Mike and Lisa's life actually costs closer to $115,000 per year after taxes during those early retirement years, and $144,000 before taxes. Now we know the actual cost of the life they want to live. Before we go any further, there's a simple way to think about how retirement actually works. I call it the life funding stack. At the top is your life, the cost of living the life you want after taxes. Below that is investment income. This is the income generated from the money you've saved. And at the base is guaranteed income. Things like Social Security, pensions, or annuities. Income that shows up every month regardless of the market. Retirement works when the bottom two layers produce enough after-tax income to support the life at the top. When income covers the cost of your life, work becomes optional. So let's see how this works in a real example. Let's go back to Mike and Lisa. Before we calculate whether Mike and Lisa can retire at 62, we need to address one of the most important decisions in retirement: when to start Social Security. If Mike and Lisa begin taking benefits at age 62, they would receive roughly $27,000 per year. But if they delay and start benefits at 67, their annual income increases to about $38,000 per year. That's a meaningful difference. But like most things in retirement planning, the decision isn't always simple. Because depending on their total income in retirement, 85% of Social Security can also become taxable, which means the real impact depends on how their entire retirement system works together. So for the sake of our example, Mike and Lisa decide to take Social Security now, at age 62. That means in their life funding stack, they now have $27,000 in guaranteed income. Next, we need to look at the second layer of the life funding stack: investment income. Mike and Lisa have done a good job saving over the years. They have a $1 million investment portfolio. Now the question becomes, how much income can that portfolio generate to help fund their life? There are really two ways to think about this. The first option is to simply withdraw whatever amount is needed each year to cover the gap in their income. In Mike and Lisa's case, their life costs about $115,000 per year after taxes. They already received $27,000 from Social Security, which means they still need about $88,000 after tax. After accounting for taxes, that means their portfolio would need to produce roughly $117,000 per year. If they start withdrawing that amount from a $1 million portfolio, something important happens. Even assuming the portfolio earns 8% per year, the money runs out at around age 74. Clearly, that's not a workable plan. So let's look at the second option. Instead of withdrawing whatever they need, they could limit their withdrawals to about 5% of the portfolio each year. 5% of $1 million generates about $50,000 per year. When we add that to their $27,000 in Social Security, Mike and Lisa now have about $77,000 of total income. But remember, Their life costs about $115,000 per year after taxes and $144,000 before taxes. That leaves them short roughly $38,000 annually after taxes and $67,000 before taxes, which means under this scenario, Mike and Lisa cannot afford to retire yet. So they are faced with an important decision and need a retirement system to help them understand the trade-offs. At this point, it helps to think about retirement as a system you can adjust. Imagine a retirement control panel with a few key levers. Each lever affects the outcome. And how those levers are set determines when retirement becomes possible. The first lever is life expenses. How much it costs to live the life you want each year. The second lever is retirement age. When you stop working and start relying on your portfolio. Third is your portfolio value, how much money you've saved and invested. The fourth lever is when you start Social Security. And the fifth lever is healthcare costs, especially in the years before Medicare begins. None of these variables exist on their own. They all interact with each other. And how you set them determines whether the system works or not. For example, if Mike and Lisa keep their life expenses at $95,000 per year, the control panel shows something important. To make the numbers work, they likely need to keep working until about age 65. A few years of additional income, higher Social Security benefits, and lower healthcare costs can dramatically change the outcome. That's the power of understanding the retirement system. Because when you can see the levers clearly, you can start making better decisions about how to adjust them. Knowing what your life actually costs is the first step to understanding when you can retire. The life funding stack helps you see how that life gets funded. And the retirement control panel shows you the levers that determine whether the system works. When you understand those pieces, retirement stops being guesswork, and it becomes a decision you can make with confidence. If this conversation resonates with you, like the video, subscribe to Crane, and share it with someone you care about. You've worked hard to build your life. Now it's time to make sure it can support the retirement you want, when you want it. Clarity before crisis.